Okay, so we are at a local thermostat for the AON units. The AON units that serve this area and in your production area have digital thermostats. Okay? The accessibility to your AON thermostats, there's a small set screw on the bottom of the thermostat. It's a 1/16 Allen wrench head. You screw it in to be able to take the cover off. And then when you put the cover back on, you take your Allen head and you screw it back out, and then that secures it. Okay, pretty straightforward, not a lot to it. And then from the thermostat, there is a set point adjust and an override. The override is, everything's 100% occupied all the time, but if they went unoccupied because of power cycle or something like that and it didn't come back occupied, you can hit the override button. The override button, and then when you hit the override button, it'll give you an option. It's actually running right now, but what it does, it's telling you the fan is running, the temperature of the space, the humidity of the space, and then the set point, once it lights up, is a plus or minus 3 degrees, okay? They're set at 68 to 72, 68 for heat, 72 for cool. So that is your base set point for the heating and cooling cycles. So if you go from 68 down to 65, as you increase your set point, it offsets the one above it or below it. So in other words, if you're at 68 degrees in heating and you bump it up 3 degrees, it automatically bumps up your cooling set point. So they don't overlap. Okay, and that's that's straight from AON, that's part of the unit. There's nothing really adjustable there. There's not a whole lot adjustable down here at the thermostat. Straightforward thermostat control, plus or minus 3 degrees offset point, okay? The display will cycle between what your humidity is and then gives you your set points. It also gives you baud rate and things like that, which doesn't have anything to do with the unit itself. That's if we were using 100% communication BACnet integration. These are all standalone currently. Thermostat that feeds the unit, just feeds the unit, doesn't network to any other devices. Okay, so everything is a standalone thermostat in the building. And that's for all of the units, right, as we go down. So the display just lets you cycle through what you have, how it's set up. There's unit info, screen, resolution, software. None of that's adjustable downstairs. None of it's adjustable from here. That would be adjustable from the AON unit itself. There's a keypad up in the AON unit. And there's a book that gets turned over to you guys. I'm not an AON guy. Pretty straightforward in the book itself. Just tells you if you had to go through and reset the controller. Okay? And of course that would be for your first year of service. That's a warranty issue, right? But you will have a book that allows you to be able to step through the unit upstairs on the AON unit. And then really that's pretty much it for this area. Again, there's your set point adjust, and there's your scale, and it's telling you that you have well, it doesn't tell you what that scale is, but it is 3 degrees. Mm-hmm. So I'm going down there, I'm going up there. And that's pretty much it. It's telling you the fan's running, temperature and humidity, and that it's on room control.
So is that small one there, is that 0?
Yeah, so right in the middle is 0. 0 offset. Right there is 0 offset. So that'll be 7268, okay, for heating and cooling. And this is typical for all your AON units that have a digital display. Okay. And that's anything in, here, and then the AON units that feed in the production area. The AON units that feed in the hallway on the outside, the non-production hallway, those are just slide stat adjusts, and we'll go through those, but those are AON units as well. But they are just a 2-wire sensor, and the 3rd wire is used for slide adjust. And when I say slide adjust, there's a physical, old school type of slide. And like I say, we'll have these standoffs. Everything will be mounted this way, and we'll have a picture of that as we go down. It'll be a typical mount. With your normal standoff and your normal rivet nuts that go in and hit it. So we come up, turns out, and then it's just a straight run up to the unit.
Okay.
The fire alarm shutdown, as far as controls are concerned, is it goes up to the unit. There's a fire alarm shutdown on the unit itself, just like you would normally see, and then we're on the fire alarm relay, not the actual duct detector. So the fire alarm guy has got a relay, an addressable module there, which I'm sure he'll go over during his training, but we're on that addressable module.
Okay.
So they fire however the addressable module fires. And I don't know what that sequence is, but I mean, he's gonna know. I don't know if it's a plant-wide shutdown, if you have a smoke event, or if it's just one zone.
Right.
However he has it, it is a straight, from that fire alarm module, straight up to the unit.
Okay.
Shuts it off. Okay, so there's no sequencing that would change. You gotta have the supply goes, but yeah, it's just fire alarm shutdown, we're on the addressable module.
Okay.
So all of the duct detectors that are mounted, and this is typical for all of them, all the duct detectors that are mounted are addressable duct detectors. None of our wires are landed on the duct detector themselves. They're all at the fire addressable relay.
Okay.
Okay, and that's good to know, just because if there is an issue, you wouldn't have to get to the duct detector. You would need to get to the addressable relay.
Right.
And, as far as service is concerned, or troubleshooting is concerned.
So a faulty duct detector wouldn't shut down the unit?
Probably not.
Right.
And again, that would be something the fire alarm guy would be able to tell you a little better, Johnson, but probably not. It would be it'd be a fault signal,
Right.
but not a faulty duct detector all of a sudden shutting down production.
Right.
And that's why they probably have addressable relays.
Okay.
He'd be able to enlighten you more on that, though. And that is typical for all units that have duct detectors. 2 units don't. There's a small one in the mixing, because it's small enough to not have one, and that makeup air unit I don't believe has one. But those were small enough to where they didn't need them, so they don't have them. But everything else does. All the other units do. Supply and return. And again, he'd go through that for you.
Does this have any service lights, warning lights, filters?
Does not have any filter switch stuff, not on these particular thermostats.
It's good that we don't.
Yeah, I think it's better.
Yeah.
I think what you end up having is false alarms. You have somebody who thinks they know more than they probably actually do know. Want to come and say, hey, I got a filter light flashing, you need to get those filters changed. Well, you've got a schedule to change the filters.
Right.
It's actually better to do that. You inspect the unit at the same time. The filter light does not help you inspect a unit.
Right.
So when you do filter changes, the good thing about filter changes on a schedule is while you're changing that, you're listening to the unit, you're seeing if there's a bird's nest up there or whatever, which a filter light would never show you. So that's pretty much been eliminated. And if it is something that you have, I would suggest that we get rid of it. But you don't have it here.
Yeah, we got rid of them on phase.
Okay, there you go. So you already have good heads up on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So we'll go out to the next section out here. This is the one that has a slide.
Okay.
Okay. So we're missing we've got screws on order, but those are just 632 screws. This is a slide. This is typical for the ones down the hallway.
Okay.
So the override button, again, is just there in case the unit is off and not running. Everything is set up to be 24/7, run all the time for production. And then the slide here is, again, another three-degree slide with everything set at 6872. And that was set by Aon, which was probably what was in the specifications for startup. So this, and we'll see one that's mounted, but again, minus 3 degree, plus 3 degree, and then right in the middle
And
is
this
0.
doesn't have any humidity control in here?
Does not have humidity control that I know of, no, not in here. I think the only humidity control that I remember the units having is in the DEH units and the Aons with humidity sensors have hot gas bypass.
Right.
So the ones that have the digital displays have a humidity sequencing on them. I can't speak to this because I don't know for sure. So we basically, whatever the AON unit was and what the stuff we provided is what we mounted. For the AON units in the oven and packaging area, because they have humidity, they have a hot gas bypass with humidity control.
Okay.
These, I think, are just straight cool heat, comfort cooling and comfort heat. But Kevin, don't let me, I'm not 100% sure about that. It's a fair question. I don't know that answer.
Okay.
This is not a humidity sensor down here. This is just a 2-wire thermistor with the 3rd wire being used for set point control. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Got an FS box that'll go here, just like on the other ones. And this keypad here, I don't know if they've done startup. It doesn't look like it's on. This is a fully functional makeup air unit for that captive air, right? That one right there. The new one. And it's got a full display. It's different. It's actually a captive air unit. It's not an AON. And then you can set your set point, adjust everything from this stack here. When we have our second day, we'll go through this again to make sure that we're set up. But that's all started up by captive air. Everything's been started on that unit. I'm not sure why. I mean, we got to mount it, but it's not powered right now. I'm not sure why it's not powered, but this is all local control again from this stack, and makes that unit there. I don't know. I think that's existing.
Yeah,
that was your existing side, and then so we're controlling off of that one right there.
So with the 2 air units, the exhaust fan, we get a lot of positive pressure and a lot of heat and steam in this room.
Yeah. So the exhaust fan starter will be interlocked whenever this guy's running. The exhaust fans. That's what this interconnect wiring is.
Right.
Back to the motor control center. Sends a signal to start the exhaust fan.
Right.
So
how do these units help with all the steam and moisture, like anything like that?
Now you're talking about design side that I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't speak to design side.
Okay.
So yeah, we are interlocked with the exhaust fan,
right.
but I don't know how that helps or doesn't help.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Another AON unit set up the exact same way. All thermostats that look like this are going to operate the same way. Okay, same set points. This one's mounted again with the 1/16 Allen wrench head screw at the bottom. So this is what it ends up looking like. Gives you good sturdy, and then the FS box with the standoffs.
It was 68 and 72 for the set points, right?
Yeah.
So that one right there is 76 with the heat on.
It may be in the dehum mode. I don't know.
Okay.
We'd have to go up to the unit and see. But I don't actually know. That's a good question.
Okay.
But it is 6872. I know that because that's what the AON guys told me that was going to be set
that's
up.
That's how
at.
I would read it there. Right?
Yeah, no, that's how I would read it. Yep. And it could be in a dehum cycle. Again, these are actually it's this one here, and then there's one right down here as well. And it's 73, and that looks like that's heat as well. Let's see. Yep. That's in the heat mode. So again, it may be in the dehum, although that shows 23% humidity. We'd have to look at it and see. That again, they're all standalone. They wire straight to that AON unit. If there's an issue with the AON unit, we need to get AON out here to take a look at it until we can take it over for you. But that is these would all be AONs.
Okay.
Insight, I believe, who does AON now, but you'll get that information from Bonson when they do the turnover package. Tell you what, you've got 4 in this area. Okay, they are all discharge air controlled.
Okay.
This here is for the pressure control with the exhaust fans that we haven't started yet, and you'll have a switch here that allows you to turn the exhaust fan either on or pressure control. Okay, the pressure
like a bypass, so I can turn it on without.
Yeah, it'll be an override 100% or whatever the set speed we want to make it at. So we could have it be a set speed of 30 hertz or 60 hertz or whatever that set speed needs to be. Okay, through here. It does not affect the makeup air unit. It's just the ability to be able to bring on the exhaust fan and override space pressure control.
Is that tied in with the fire alarm?
It is the exhaust fan. I don't know.
Okay, 'cause that
I
was
don't
kind of like
know.
the wish list
Right.
was to be able to do that.
I don't know if it's tied in with the exhaust fan or not. I don't remember that being in the sequence,
Okay.
but we'd have to look.
Yeah.
The way it is pressure control, the ability to override your exhaust fan on, and then all of the makeup air units in this space are 100% discharge air control. So you don't have space sensors in here, except for these guys down here.
Okay.
So like for this unit, you think, okay, maybe I should have a thermostat here. There is no thermostat.
Okay.
It's just discharge air control on the makeup air unit.
So that's going to be programmed, right? It's just going to run at like 60%.
That's right, or 60 degree. I'm not exactly sure what their program is, but yes, that's what it's for.
Is that just a switch, or what's the control like that?
Upstairs at the unit, I believe it's programmed. Down here, there is no set point adjust down here.
Okay.
That's all up at the unit. It would occur at the unit from the manufacturer. These are
switch here to turn it into override?
for the exhaust fan.
Right.
For the exhaust fan, yes. You'll have a switch for the exhaust fan, but not a switch for changing how the unit itself operates, the DEH.
Okay.
So it comes on and runs and maintains discharge air temperature.
Okay. I'd like to see what the control looks like for that.
Yeah, and when we get it on, I'll be able to show you that. But this is where it's going to be located.
Yeah.
And then, so what happens is this here, we have the cable run all the way back to the motor control center, and it's a direct interface with the drive itself
Okay.
for the exhaust fans.
All right.
Right? So there's 2 exhaust fans that serve each unit. Like for this one, Makeup Air 6 is 19 and 21.
Yeah.
7 is 22 and 20. 8 is 23 and 25. And then 9 is 24 and 26.
Okay.
And I'll give you that list in the turnover package, but those are all interlocked together through hardwire cable
Yeah.
back to the motor control center at the drives.
Okay. I'd like to have that controlled access
Okay.
if we can. I don't know if there's any way to put a key on it. So as part of the wish list was the fact that if we have a fire,
Controlled access. I got you.
The HVAC system shuts down, right? You don't want to feed oxygen to a fire.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So we need to make sure we have clearance from the fire department before we override the system and turn on the exhaust. So
Right.
I'd like to have some kind of controlled access so nobody just comes over and flips the switch.
That's perfect. We'll make it a keyed switch.
Okay.
I mean, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
I've got the switches, but all I have to do is swap them out and for keyed switches.
Okay.
So you'd have basically a keyed HOA,
Yeah.
and then nobody can do anything unless they come with the key.
key.
Yes, absolutely.
So other than that, it would run on the program, whatever it's
That's
set,
right. Unless you have the key to override it, and then once you do that,
Perfect.
you override it.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll have that for all your key switches.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we have this where the fire department gives us the thumb up before we start feeding, pulling air.
Right, pulling air out, yeah. That's a really good question. And I do this same exact thing here. I'll swap out those switches.
Okay.
Yeah, that's super easy. Okay, now we're down to the DHUM units.
Right.
These are the DEH units, and they are all typical as well. This is a temperature and humidity sensor wired straight back to the unit for control. I think they're doing the startup of those today.
Okay.
So I don't know what the base set points are yet. They'll put in whatever the design documents show. It's probably 68 and 72. I don't want to swear to that yet, but whatever the design document shows, what those guys for startup will do. These currently do not have any adjustment down here in the space. So we're looking at changing that. But as it stands right now, it's just, this is what was sent, this is what was bought, so this is what we mounted. Okay? Now, doesn't mean we can't change it out and we won't change it out. We're talking about having that adjustment being made because I think it was requested, and it's probably a punch list item, but I'm working on that with Bonson. okay, the mechanical contractor. I think what they were done is they were given the wrong stat.
Okay.
I got enough wires down here to make it work.
Yeah.
Because I assumed that there would be set point adjustment.
Right.
So I've got a bunch of cable wrapped up in here ready for it. I just got to have the right sensor to put it in.
Okay.
It will 100% work and control right now the way it stands.
Yeah.
It's just, if you wanted local set point control, right now you don't have it. This is, take the cover off, it's just a temperature and humidity sensor. There's nothing you can do inside it. So that's going to be changed.
Okay.
Well, it'll probably end up being the same exact stat and you'll have a slide.
Yeah.
But I don't know that for sure because all I did was mount what they gave us.
Okay.
And that's typical for the exact same one. And we'll walk back around to make sure, but typical for all your DEH units in this area. It's the other DEH unit right there. Again, temperature and humidity. And we'll have these taken off and they'll be tagged. Right? So your boxes will be tagged. We just have it there so we make sure that we get everything checked off. But you'll have a tag either on the top or on the side. We generally don't put it on the sensor because if you need to change your sensor out, the tag goes with it.
Right.
So we'll have it on the side or the top of the FS box.
Okay.
All right? And then we go up and we're cable up to the unit itself. So the thermostats that we mounted very close to where they show on the mechanical drawings.
Okay.
So if you reference the mechanical drawings, we're going to be really close to where they show them on the drawings. If we need to move them, we can certainly move them. Most everything is in cable because we were allowed to use a cable tray. You know, once we got above the right height. So we just need to know, right? Once you kind of get going, if we need to move, we'll move. But they're mounted where they show on the drawings. Okay. So that column line right there, if you find that column line on the mechanical prints, we should be really close to it. Because you don't have a graphic package, right? So we were trying to be really as close to where they showed it on the mechanical drawings as possible, just because since you don't really have a graphic place, it gives you ability to just be able to pull the prints out and say, I should be close to column F, row 1.5 or whatever. And then there you are. Again, AON unit exactly like the other ones, and we'll have it tagged so you know which one it is.
Is there default programming to this, and then when I adjust it, that it holds the default? So like phase one, it has a default setting, and then we can adjust it to a certain amount of time. So 4 hours, 5 hours, then it goes back to the default program.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. We'd have to ask AON about that.
Okay.
So AON did all of the programming and setup and all of that. The startup guy did. And we basically put the thermostats on and made sure they worked for them.
Okay. It's easy enough to test.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to test, and it should be part of the O&M documentation. But yeah, we can test it, and we'll test it with you.
Okay.
It's not a problem. But yeah, so thermostat again, and then let's just so we can walk everything down. Yep. Again, DEHs.
Both sides.
Yes, sir, both sides. And they should be almost directly across from each other. That's what we tried to do. Yeah. So, makeup air unit.
So we have heat and air in this section, right?
I'm almost positive that there's heating and air in this section for the makeup airs.
On the other side, it's just air in, air out.
Oh, is it? Okay. See, I honestly don't know.
That's why we have the baffles and stuff.
Ah.
And then you'd spend a fortune trying to cool an oven, right?
Yep.
So curious about that.
I'm curious about how that works too. I'll be honest with you. Once they said that I needed to mount the factory controls,
Yeah.
I kind of didn't get too much into it because that should be in your O&Ms. These are the drives that do the makeup air units. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those, and then one more that's associated with those makeup airs. This guy right here.
Yeah, 19, okay.
Okay, Now, we're waiting on a drive for this. That's only a 1 horsepower drive. It needs to be a 3 horse. Okay, because that's what they all are, 3 horsepower drives. So when it comes in, we'll replace it. I just don't have it yet.
Okay.
But you'll still be able to either run it from the keypad or from the switch over there, or if it's in full auto, it's pressure control.
Okay.
Okay. Now in here, I mean, technically you could come here and hit the button and stop it, or hit the button and start it, but the switch will still take the last command, because that's a hard wire contact closure. Okay, so I've got the actual keyed switch. If that keyed switch is in an open position, the fans are off. Let me take that back. It's a 3-wire, so if it's in the auto, it's auto. If it's open, it's off. If it's in hand, it's whatever we tell it to be, which is either running 100%, run at 50%, whatever we decide we want it to be. And that's all set up through the keypad, right?
That's where it runs all the way down.
That's right. So we ran everything in black cable. We were allowed to be in cable tray, and then we stayed on the outside of the cable tray. So this is actually our cable tray right there. That is cable tray rated wire. It's TC cable, but the electrician didn't want us in their tray. So I said, okay, fine, no problem. And so we're basically hooked on the side of the tray everywhere. So if you look up here, right above us, this is us hooked right above. That is all control cable for exhaust fans that home run back to our location in the production area. Okay? It's a little funky, and we should have been in the tray, but that's fine. I mean, we're still a code. It's not a problem. It's just, it doesn't look as nice.
Okay.
But I mean, we're there.
Each MAU has 2 exhaust fans.
Yeah. So, oh wait a minute, right here. Yeah, they're all through here. All of them are in here. So 19 and 21, 20 and 22 will be labeled over there. 23, 25.
So they're not separate. So you said those are for the MAUs.
Yeah, they're associated, I guess is a better way to put it.
I'm just curious because phase 1, each exhaust fan is over there by itself. Mm-hmm. So this is exhaust fan 19, 20. Mm-hmm. Are you saying that the exhaust fans are tied into the MAUs over here, or where's the drives for each exhaust fan?
That's these.
Okay.
They're still separate, individual, its own drive. I just have them interlocked.
Okay.
Right, hardwire interlocked up through the unit, back down to here, and through the switch.
It's 21 to 26.
Yes. Yeah, and then 21 through 26, and then we pick up 19 over there in the motor control center.
Got it.
And then 27 and 28 are down there where the raw storage was, and there's 2 exhaust fans down there. Those are just starters.
Okay.
So they run all the time, on-off, unless they're shut down by the unit itself. But we'll have the same kind of switch for you there. Those are all pulled back as well, but they're not drives. They're just cross-the-line starters.
Okay.
So we do have 19 through 26 are on drives, and then 27 and 28 are starters. Okay. The drawings show what's interlocked with what. There's a schedule that shows you what's interlocked with what. Okay. So I do know for sure that 19, 21, 20 and 22, 23 and 25, 24 and 26 are associated with those makeup air units 6 through 9. Okay. And then 27 is, I'm going to tell you wrong, but 27 and 28 are the 2 at the end, raw storage and the room right before that. Yeah, those 2 rooms there.
So will we come back and go over the actual controls for this?
Yeah, that's what we need to do as a separate day, because these haven't been powered yet, and I don't know if these have been started up. So I actually still need to make sure that it, once I land everything, that it works.
Okay.
Right? I mean, it's gonna, but I mean, I've got to check all that out and go to the right speed and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll have another time I'll show you exactly how that looks. But that is where they are, for sure. They're going to stay there, and then over in this area, Again, there's 19, and then 27 starter, and 28 starter.
Okay.
This is the starter that I have today. We're going to get that plate replaced today. Just to go over the exhaust fans one more time. Again, it's all hardwired local control. So we have a static pressure sensor,
Yeah.
okay? That's a 4 to 20 milliamp signal that will come back to the drive itself. And we'll go through this, but as far as having it on video so you know what's what. That 4 to 20 milliamp sensor will be out in the space, okay? Taking a look at what the pressures are. It'll send a linear, 0 to 5 volt or 4 to 20 milliamp signal between, minus 2 inches and plus 2 inches. I'll set that range up in the drive, okay? The drive will read it, and the set point for that control is actually in the drive, in the Square D drive.
Right.
So we're going to use the drive as a controller, and that's how it was kind of designed. Since we're not putting a separate controller in for each individual piece, the drives have that ability to be able to do their PID inside the drive, and that's how that'll work.
Right.
So it'll come back, boom. If you want to change set points, it'll be changed at the drive, and then it'll start modulating to that particular set point.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward. There's nothing unusual about that.
Yeah.
It's just I usually like to have a separate controller
Yeah.
to do that with, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. And then we haven't touched anything else inside the motor control centers except for the ones for this project. Yeah, I'm just making sure that there's nothing else. Let's see. Yeah, there's 21, 20, 19. Let me look over here. Yeah. So the reason this one's, that drive that's actually in there is a 1 horse. These are 3 horsepower drives. This is a 3 horsepower drive, and that's a 3 horsepower drive. So those are the right sizes.
Okay.
This was too small. I don't know if they bumped up the size of the motors or not from the first project. Maybe that's why, but I don't know.
So I'm trying to understand the structure here, I guess, between phase 1 and phase 2. Monson installed the air unit on the roof, right? Except for the 2 that Dennis did. And then Bonson hired you to do the controls.
The standalone controls,
The
yes.
standalone controls.
Right.
So anything with the controls will still be through Bonson, but then
Through Bonson to me.
you.
So Bonson actually bought all the controls. I just installed and wired them,
okay.
right? Because all the controls were provided by the manufacturer.
Yeah.
So the thermostats are Aeons, right? That's an Aeon
Yeah.
thermostat. The DEH units provided the temperature and humidity sensor.
Right.
I just wired it up. The duct detectors were provided by the electrician, mounted by the mechanical,
Okay.
and then I landed on the fire alarm control relay.
Yeah.
Basically, all I did on this job was run cable
And mount.
and mount things. And I am honestly, technically, the drive should be programmed by Bonson but I'm going to do those because I'm going to have to work them anyhow,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I got to work them anyhow. I'm not going to do the startup of the exhaust fan, but the setting of the 4 to 20 milliamp sensor, the setting of the set point, I will
Okay.
be doing that for the drives.
Okay.
Everything else, though, is they provided to me, I mounted and wired.
Okay.
Okay? So, like the drives themselves, Bonson bought all the new drives,
Yeah.
and then we mounted them all.
Okay. I got it. Trying to make sure I know who to call for what. But
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, on this on this other phase, at least through the first year, it's Bonson, and then Bonson will call me and say, "Get your butt out there and help our buddy out."
Okay.
Right? I mean, that probably for the first year for sure.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be done, and then we,
Okay.
you do what you think you need to do. But for the
Yeah.
first year for sure, any warranty calls, any questions, Bonson, and and then we're out here.
Okay.
And we would do that for any other customer for salmon, or even if we weren't doing the service out here, it'd still be through Bonson or whoever the mechanical is.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's for sure how we would do that, and then, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. That we just need to go thermostat again.
So one for each section of it.
Yeah, one for each section of the hallway. So in the dough room, I think there was a thermostat moving. So I've got a thermostat I still have to put in for 31. And I think it may have been relocated. I've got to look at there was Bonson sent me a detail saying, hey, we want you to move. So there's not going to be a change order there. I just need to put it in the new spot. Okay, and we will put it in the new spot. The makeup air unit only runs on discharge air control. It does not have a thermostat on it. So you're not going to have anything on your walls for that makeup air unit right there.
So go over that again. Discharge is
just discharge air temperature control for makeup air 10. This does have a thermostat. I've got to find the proper location for it, and we'll put it in.
Air in, air out?
Yeah, air in, and then that exhaust fan right there, 27. And then we are conditioned. This is a DX unit here, little DX. It's actually the same size as the one that feeds the hallway.
So that's not temperature controlled, right?
The discharge air is temperature controlled.
Okay.
So if the discharge air set point is, let's just say 60 degrees for the discharge air temperature set point, then as the temperature goes down below 60, it'll modulate the dampers outside to maintain whatever that discharge air temperature needs to be, or cycle the heat on, I'm sorry, cycle the heat on, the gas heat to maintain 60 degrees, okay? And then it must have DX in it if it's discharge air. If it goes above, because this is your dough room, is that right?
Creamery.
Okay. So as it goes above 60 degrees, it'll cycle the DX cooling to maintain 60 degree discharge air. And then this is going to be on a wall that will be 68 to 72.
The only thing I can think of is that that's going to be for the room, and this is going to be there for workstation or something.
Yeah, usually this is comfort cooling.
Yeah.
And that's product cooling, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, usually that's how it is. Because there's a big, like, hopper or something that goes in there?
There's going to be 4 silos tanks that are going to be in there.
Okay. Yeah. These guys usually are comfort control for operators or workstations or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like you said, your process control is usually discharge air, temperature controlled.
Okay.
So yeah. I would show you the stat, but we don't have it mounted yet. But it'll be, I think, I've got a detail for it. I just don't know yet. Okay. I don't want to tell you for sure. It was moved from the existing location, which we had a piece of tape, but I took the tape off. So anyhow, we'll put it where it shows on the new detail. I think Dennis Group gave us feedback on that. Okay. Probably something about.
Probably like dead center.
Yeah, well, it was probably in the way of something, a shelf or something.